It was October 26th, 2018, when I made my way home from the bus stop after a long day of school. I was 12 years old and had a week off of half-term ahead of me, but the only thing on my mind that Friday was a revolutionary piece of media by the name of Red Dead Redemption 2. My preteen brain had no idea how boggled it was going to be by the world I was going to witness. It grabbed me that day, and for the past almost 7 years, never let me go. Every time I load up Red Dead Redemption 2, I feel like that 12-year-old boy who sat on the couch in the living room after dinner and stayed up way past his bedtime to experience a story like no other. A game which I endlessly talk about to friends and family despite them not understanding what's so special about it. An adventure which became a part of me. This isn't a research paper, video essay, or dissertation, but a love letter to a game that changed my life. On that soggy autumn day, I had assignments due, friends to reply to, but the only bother in my mind was the cold Amberino snow biting at my skin, taking me to a time I knew little about, but where I felt so at home. Hunched up in those cabins in Coulter is where I began a journey which never ended for me. Even after the credits rolled, I felt like there's still more left to see and find out in the world of the Wild West, an untamable land filled with legends of human grit and discovery that was drowned in the blood of millions that ventured in search of fortune. Coulter was a small taste of a world crafted meticulously to make you feel like it is alive, even when you're not in it, making you feel like you're missing out every minute you're somewhere else. For my 12-year-old self, it felt like that chapter dragged on for hours. But that was solely because of what I knew was awaiting for me on the other side of that blizzard. So when I did get done fighting O'Driscolls and robbing Cornwall, I was thrown into a world with seemingly no boundaries. But to reach the world filled with bounty hunters, gunfights, and western tales, you must first be ingrained in the story of the gang, with which you venture to these civilized lands. Because the reason for your character being here is as much their choice as it is yours. The gang and the relationships that Arthur has with them is so important to the world, as the more missions you do, the more you venture further from camp, seeing new states and getting introduced to these lands. Red Dead Redemption 2's story is intertwined with the world in order to give a profound amount of detail whenever you're venturing through a state or town. It embellishes the world, showing how you impact it with your actions, whether you're on a mission or not, and what you do stays in that location for quite some time, and is even brought up by some characters when you return. However, the greatest impact on the world is time, as the world in RDR2 is not constant, and with each day that goes by, it changes as well. Houses, railways and bridges get built, and events you could have participated in vanish. At some points, the world may seem realer than reality. Having you care for the wildlife that roams the fields and forests, and having interactions with a gang that make you realize why Arthur Morgan thinks of them as family. Despite being a gang of outlaws, they're more misfits that form a tight-knit family, being forced to survive, hunted by Pinkertons and bounty hunters from state to state. The world is enhanced not only through the locations, but also through the characters. The camp is rich with lore and stories to hear from each gang member, making each encounter with them even more precious as you understand the fleeting nature of your time in the gang, as you are being chased from camp to camp from the very beginning of the game. Nothing lasts forever, not even in Red Dead Redemption 2, and that's why it is so incredibly special to experience each mission in this world, as it makes you feel ingrained in every conversation that takes place, whether you hear it in camp or strolling by on the streets of Saint Denis. The first chapters really glorify the Wild West, making it seem like some sort of fairy tale, but from the end of chapter 3, reality catches up with the gang as you start seeing insanity seep through the cracks of the gang's adversity. Most of all, this is seen in Dutch van der Linde, the leader of the gang, being one of Arthur's father figures, along with Hosea, that adopted him at the age of 14. You have a really close relationship with Dutch, as he has a lot of trust in Arthur, sending you on important tasks for the gang. This is great at first, as you see how close everyone is in the gang, But it is even more brutal to see in the final chapters, as you have a front row seat, to see the gang rot from its core and lose all its members one by one, becoming the very thing they all hated. Another soulless group of rascals that stand for nothing. Dutch even said it in the first few missions of the game.
Cole doesn't give a damn about his men. All he cares about is numbers.
However, in the end, Dutch becomes just another Cole McDriscoll, caring only about money. The investment you put into these characters and seeing their relations unfold in front of your eyes makes you really attached to them. And if you weren't even a tiny bit sad to see some of those characters leave in the 6th chapter, then I don't know what to tell you. It makes everything that happens in the collapse of the gang that much more personal to you, as by the end, you feel like you're also part of the band of misfits. You don't want the story to come to an end, but you realize that if no one does stand up to Dutch, then you have to, because otherwise, this madness will never stop, and Dutch will continue to inflict pain. I've talked about the detailed design of its western states and how realistic they are to our world, and also about the story and how the characters pull you closer to this unfamiliar world. However, there is still one last factor in this game which goes overlooked by so many, and that is the sound and music that surrounds you while you're playing. Because no matter where you are, the sounds of Red Dead Redemption 2 can take you to that era of the American frontier and cut out the outside, taking you into the reality that was long forgotten by most. Woody Jackson is the mastermind behind all the composing done in both games of the Redemption franchise. For Red Dead Redemption 2, around 110 musicians came together to create all the music for the game. Just like the world you explore, the music reacts to every action of the player. I fell in love with the sounds of the world, using the ambient sounds of the game to sleep and even study for final exams. To enhance the player's experience, they used 3 different types of score, being narrative, for missions and key events in the game's story, and environmental, whenever someone is playing music in the game, like in a town, saloon, or camp. And lastly, the most important one, which makes your journey so full of life, being interactive. Adding music while you roam the world. This interactive score that plays while you ride your horse, pick herbs, or just stand idling in a river makes you feel like you're active in the world, even if immobile. Because although you have a choice whether to interact with the world or the story, the music plays for you at all times, except when you just decide to play without music by switching it off. However, if you do that, then you are simply limiting your enjoyment, as Woody Jackson has written 60 hours of music just for Red Dead Redemption 2. Just like every other thing, the music goes hand in hand with gameplay. As expected, it would go on to win several awards, because to this day, I still tend to hum a melody I remember. Not only did it assist the game in its goal of capturing the player, but has also claimed a timeless place in thousands of people's hearts. That, my friends, is why Red Dead Redemption 2 is still on my mind till this day. I would like to call it a game, but it's more than that. Maybe I could call it a cinematic and storytelling masterpiece. But then again, it's so much more than just that. Then I'd have to call it an experience, which never ends and keeps living through you, always lingering slightly on my mind, and how much depth was created in a game that was released back in 2018, and that since then has not been challenged. Yet. But we'll be seeing about that soon with GTA 6. I hope you all enjoyed my love letter to an experience like no other. With this, I lay down my feather and ink and thank all of you for your attention. Until the next video, folks, have a great rest of your day.